Hey, so this is Adam with Theros Media. I want to talk about Performance Max for e-commerce, specifically higher price e-commerce. So our average order value for our um, products, so I'll show you, is around $800. So typically, a lot of times, the conventional wisdom is you can't run an ad to a product and make a sale above $100 or so, whatever. That's not the case. You can make sales all day. So today, I'll even show you. So today, this shopping campaign has a 3% conversion rate, and typically they come in, see the product, make a sale immediately. Today, we had a sale come through for a shopping campaign of ours. I just rebuilt the shopping campaign so it looked kind of wonky. The data looked kind of wonky. So today we had someone come through this one, make a sale. First time we saw them, it was at 4 a.m. this morning. So I'll show you exactly what they did. We've had them come through a shopping campaign, 414, add the cart. It took them a second to add the cart. They went to the cart page, didn't buy. Came back to the same campaign, same ad, same campaign. 5 minutes later, came through and purchased. So it took them about 15 minutes to make a purchase. 2 clicks for 1 purchase. So clicks cost me $2 each, $4 for a $600 purchase. I'll take that all day. So you can have an ad go right to checkout for, actually there's a buffer, there's an add a cart page, whatever. But you can have, we're doing it consistently, having sales come through. First time this person has seen us, make a sale the same day, over $100. We can do that all day. You have to have the right type of traffic. So he came through a couple days before. She came through on Friday. Saw our ad yesterday again. Made a purchase 2 days later. So he only needed 2 clicks for us to make a sale like that. Same thing with this one. This one was a $2,000 sale. I believe it was over 2 days. So came in initially on Saturday, made a sale that same day. So what is it, 7 hours to make a sale for $2,000? So you can do it. It can be done. Performance Max, though, I think has to be done slightly differently for high-priced sales. And the reason I think that is because of the type of traffic you're sending and the signals you're sending to Google. So our Performance Max campaign is built out. I'll show you how it's built out. I have about an average of 50 to 60 asset groups per campaign. And Google's really trying to figure out how to make a sale for us. Excuse me, I'm at home today. I'm working from home. So Google's actually trying to figure out how to make a sale the best way possible for your campaigns. So the way I have the Performance Max campaign set up, I have it done per catalog category. So this one is for acid neutralizers. We have 1.5, so it has 60 of them. I have 20 asset groups per product, basically. So I have an asset group for the best practices of Google, how they want you to do it. They want you to put everything in you can possibly put in, so they can try to figure out how to do a good job for you. So I built it out. I appeased Google, did it the way they wanted me to build it out. But then, instead of doing that, I built out for each signal, for each audience signal, I built out its own asset group. So I have about 20 of these per thing. So I have in-market, I have all types of things, similar to visitors, similar to purchasers, similar to product viewers. I have YouTube viewers. I have similar to YouTube viewers. I have all customers. I have customers who purchase a specific product, customers who purchase more than one of the specific product, customers who purchase combinations of the specific product with other products, all types of campaigns. So you see similar to these visitors, similar to purchasers, all that type of stuff. So I have everything built out inside one asset group, and then I have each asset group going after one signal. So that's how I decided to build it out, based on the data I've seen on how things have been working. So this is the best. So I don't think there's any best practices for Performance Max yet, but this is the best practice I can figure out because we do a ton of Facebook advertising as well. And this is kind of how you have to do it on Facebook. You have to build out a campaign going after one product or one category of products because I want to make sure my cost per click, cost per acquisition is the same for the campaign. So I can do campaign budget optimization. That's the long-term goal for Facebook, campaign budget optimization. Think of this as a campaign budget optimization type of campaign for Facebook. So I want my cost per acquisition to be the same for my campaign budget optimization campaigns, so I know how to build out the ads and how to build out the audiences. So I usually, when I do campaign budget optimization, I do it based on the product or the category of products. So that's the best way I figured out how to do it, because I don't know why people keep putting in everything inside one, but you can't really optimize if your cost per acquisition is different for campaign budget optimization. It just doesn't make sense to me. How can Facebook go find me customers, find and do a good job of that if the cost per acquisition is different for my different products? You know what I mean? Like, think of it like a service industry. If I do a ton of advertising for HVAC companies, I would not build out a campaign inside Google Ads or Facebook Ads for different product groupings because the acquisition of customers is different. I have to spend a different amount for a ductless sale than I do for a heat pump sale. Two different types of heat pumps, but ductless has a higher long-term value for a customer. So I like to build out campaigns based on the long-term value of the customer that I'm going after. And that makes the most sense for me. And maybe I'm just brain dead in that way, but I can't imagine building out a campaign with different long-term values of customers for anything, like a Performance Max campaign. Why would I build out a Performance Max campaign for different long-term values of customers? Because they have different acquisition, they have different acquisition numbers that I need to get a customer for. So for Action Neutralizer, I don't need to get a customer for under $200 to make a sale. I can't put a well tank in here because the cost per acquisition is is a lot lower. I can't put an iron filter in here because the cost per acquisition for customer is higher. Softener is higher. Combinations are higher. So I can't do that. So why would I build a Performance Max campaign for different long-term values of customers, different customer acquisition numbers? I want the campaign to optimize for a target. The goal is to get it to target CPA, cost per acquisition. That's the goal. But I can't set a cost per acquisition target if I have different cost per acquisitions for customers, I have different long-term values of customers, etc. So I know the general consensus is throw everything, figure it out. But owning the business and running the business, running an HVAC company, running this water treatment company, as the business owner, it doesn't make sense to me because my customers cost different things to me. So why would I build out campaigns that aren't optimizing towards that one goal? You know what I mean? So I think of this as a campaign budget optimization, and that's basically what it is. It's a big campaign budget optimization for Facebook. So I'm going to build out accordingly, and I don't think anybody can persuade me otherwise. In my mind, I've seen different videos. Mainly, I've seen Solutions 8, and they do an awesome job explaining Performance Max. But the one thing I don't think Cosm has touched on is having different long-term value for your customer, which leads to having different acquisition numbers for customers. So if you have different acquisition numbers for customers, the budget is going to optimize towards how so Google's going to optimize towards the goal you give it. For right now, I'm doing maximize conversions. That's all I care about right now, bringing in sales. If I only did maximize conversions, I can see throwing everything into one campaign for maximize conversions. But my goal is to get it to target cost per acquisition. So that's my goal at the very end. So I'm thinking, long-term goal, because I want to have this, dialed in, churning out customers at a certain percentage. So the goal is get it toward target cost per acquisition. And the acquisition targets are different per product line. So I'm not going to build out a performance max campaign now to have to change it later, because it's going to optimize towards this anyway, in my mind. So why not just start out and optimize it from the get-go for this? So that's how I have this built out for different product lines, etc. So I have about 20 different asset groups for each product built out for this way, because long-term value of the customer, all that type of stuff. But my main gripe with Performance Max is it goes after the lowest hanging fruit, if you understand what I mean. So it's going to go after display traffic, YouTube traffic, which is, for right now I have a small budget. So I can imagine it's wanting to spend the budget, all the budget it possibly can, not just get 4 or 5 clicks, but getting hundreds of clicks a day. So right now it's got 53 clicks. And this morning it had 4 clicks for $20. The budget's only $15 a day for right now. I'm going to scale it up as sales come in. But I know, just knowing my numbers, I know that my cost per acquisition for this campaign is $200. So I'm probably going to bump it up to $200 a day. But I just built it out yesterday, so that's why $15 a day. But I want to filter the traffic based on where it's coming from for Performance Max. That's why I have a small budget now. I think it's going to lean towards display and YouTube for now, because it can get a lot more clicks to the site. The numbers can look a lot better. In my mind, thinking through Google, they can tell me, oh, you got 50 clicks for 50 cents each. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything to me. I don't really care. But I think they like to see bigger numbers for whatever reason. Anyway, I mean, that's just the way the Performance Max has been going. I've had big budgets for our campaigns. I've had small budgets for our campaigns. I've had medium-sized budgets. So I spent $500 a day for a little bit for a Performance Max campaign. And it didn't really do that much better than a campaign that had a smaller budget. So I don't really see the need of putting everything into one campaign for right now, for me. So this one has a smaller budget for now, because I built it out the way I have it built out. So I tested about 7 or 8 different styles of Performance Max campaigns. I tested out one wide open with a big budget for one product, one asset group. I tested out 100 asset groups for one product, big budget, let it do its thing. I tested out small budget, one asset group, let Google optimize for its thing and do its thing. I tested out basically a catalog approach with a medium-sized budget, a ton of asset groups per product in the catalog, let Google do its thing. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. But I narrowed it down from the catalog because, basically it's a product collection. So right now I narrowed it down to specific, like highly focused long-term values and cost per acquisitions for customers. So that's what I'm focusing on now, is I'm going after similar long-term values, going after similar customer acquisitions with a small budget. So that's been working fairly well. I think as of right now, we have a 1,500% return on investment for the products. My goal is to get that to 500% return on investment. So I want to lower my return on investment by spending more money. So that's my goal. Is right now spending a little bit of budget, I can go after the best of the best customers. Once you spend more budget, you kind of broaden up the targeting. You can go after less qualified customers. Right now, it's going after the best of the best, going after less qualified. I want the long-term value to be 500%. That's how I know I'm kind of at a balance in my budget for that campaign. I think I can get there with about $500 a day or so. So $500 a day, probably can get about 500% return on investment. So I'm going to scale this up. Every couple of days, I'm going to add more budget to it, and we're going to see how it goes. I'll probably get it to about $500 by the end of the month. But as of right now, this is how I have it built out. And the rationale is it's bringing in highly qualified traffic. That's the rationale. But I can see that it's not, because if you see our conversion rate, it's 0.16, and this is mainly Performance Max. So it's mainly Performance Max, 0.16 conversion rate. So a lot of display traffic is coming in. So my thinking is to build out Performance Max specific landing pages that have everything you can possibly do, like the whole funnel built out in one page. So the buy now button is going to be on the page. We're going to have a download on the page. We're going to have a build your system on the page. Those are kind of the steps you need to take for someone to buy a product from us if they don't know us from anybody. If they're not high quality, high targeted traffic, going after like search terms, I want to buy CLAG 1.5 action neutralizer right now. Like if they're not going after that term, then I need to build out a campaign. That's kind of the steps they go through. So just thinking through Performance Max. If you're going after higher, like non-impulse buy stuff, so things over $50, I'd say probably over $200, then think through your funnel. Like funnel, I don't like that term, but think through your customers purchasing. What does Flint McLaughlin call it? He has a specific term for it. The marketer as philosophers over there, I'll figure out exactly what he calls it. But the thought process of your customer, you should think through the whole thought process of your customer on your landing page for Performance Max. And that's what I'm going to test out now. I'm going to test out, I have the Performance Max built kind of the way I want it. About 20 asset groups per product, 60 asset groups for the total thing. They're almost identical products. They just have a couple different variations of the product. So it's basically one Performance Max campaign for one product, 60 asset groups. They're kind of built out that way. But slight variations in the product. They cost almost the same. I mean, basically the same. It's just slight variations. So my thinking is I'm going to keep it that way. I'm going to have people come in for the specific product, but they probably don't know which one they need. So Performance Max can't optimize very well, and it's doing a good job as of right now, but I think it can do better. I think the thinking through the thought process of the customer for a higher cost sale, having a landing page built out specifically for that thought process of what they need to do, their thought process of coming in from an initial customer, getting to know your brand, figuring out which one they want, figuring out if it's right for them, if they need it right now, and then buying it. Those 5 things, thinking through that on the landing page and how that's going to be built out for Performance Max is the best way to move forward for high cost sales, because these are not impulse buys. If someone's buying this, they're gonna have to install it themselves. They're gonna have to know that the company, us, is gonna deliver it to them, and know that we're gonna support them on the back end of them purchasing, and then know that we're gonna be in business long enough to keep giving them filter media throughout the lifetime of the sale. So it's like a 15-year commitment to a company once you buy something like this from them. So because it's that long term of commitment, I think thinking through in your customer's mind what the thought process of them buying from you is beneficial for you if you're running Performance Max for e-commerce. I know everybody wants to go directly to the cart page, and that's kind of what we're doing now. But I'm going to switch that up. I'm going to build out it's going to be a ton of work, but I'm going to build out, I guess it's called a funnel, but a thought process for a customer coming in from Performance Max. And I think that'll do well, because Performance Max is going to retarget for itself. And it has the leeway to do that for all the products that people are going to be buying in that specific category. And I think I'm going to put one more product in here because, I'm going to put one more product in here. I'm going to put the 1.0. So I have all the products in that category that someone can buy for their house: 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5. Those are pretty much the only astronaut neutralizers you can buy for a house. The bigger ones are more commercial, so that doesn't really apply for this one. Maybe it does, but I don't think it does. I haven't seen any commercial sales come through, even though when I was advertising for the catalog of astronaut neutralizers for Performance Max, I didn't see any sales come through. And we actually don't sell that many commercial things, so I'm not going to even focus on that. So I'm going to build out one more Performance Max campaign. It's going to be the 1.0, and then Google can optimize based on what they want. So this campaign budget optimization style of campaign, they can optimize for what they want. But on the landing page thought sequence, I'm going to have all the different astronaut neutralizers built inside. Like they're going to be able to pick the one they want. So they're going to go through a builder, be able to pick the one they want, and then that will optimize better in my mind for Google because they have the arsenal to do that. We can bring in leads, we can bring in phone calls, and we can also bring in immediate sales with the buy buttons. So that's the thought process I have for Performance Max. So I think this is the better way to do it for high commitment sales. Like if it's a $15 product, Performance Max, all day to the product page, Google will do its thing. But if you have a longer process of buying something, a higher long-term value for a customer, they need to get to know, like, and trust you a little more than because they have a bigger commitment to you. This is a 15-year commitment to a company. I think that's how you're going to have to do it. So I'm going to test it out this month to see how that does. That's the next thing I'm going to do for Performance Max inside here. Like I said, I tested out as many variations as I could think of for this one specific product. I'm going to optimize it for one product, and then I'm going to build it out for each of the other additional products. So I think that's the way to do it. Talk to you soon.